Let me tell you a story about Joe. All right, Joe was one of my first clients. Joe was kind of a pain in the ass because he didn't know what he wanted, and it was his first house, so he was being very picky, and he was very reluctant to pull the trigger. I remember this is like 2011. He was a pain in the ass because we looked at a ton of houses, probably 30 houses or so, and we found the perfect house, and he didn't want to pull the trigger. He was scared. He didn't know if it was the right house, right time to buy, all the things that first-time home buyers are concerned about. I was a newer agent, so I didn't know how to handle it the same way I might handle things now. But I pretty much told him, I'm like, I'm not showing you any more houses, dude. Like, this is your house. Pull the trigger. Well, here we are. We haven't talked in a few years, but how about that same house that he's owned since 2011? It's now a rental. His mortgage payment is he bought it for 175 grand. Single family home. It was actually brand new construction, not in the best part of town, but whatever. Now it's worth about 275-ish. His mortgage payment is $900. The rent that he gets on that house every month is $2,500 a month. So we were talking, and he's like, yeah, I don't know if I want to sell it or not because it's such a... He's like, what do you say? He's like, that's the golden goose, man. It's just laying those golden eggs every month. Yeah, that's a pretty damn good cash flow. If you can make $500 a month on a rental, that's decent cash flow. But the amount that he makes, that's pretty amazing. So I told him, I said, well, one thing you might want to do someday is a 1031 exchange. If you need the money, you want to pull money out of it, go buy a duplex or a quadplex or whatever, run the numbers and see, does it make sense to sell it? You're making $1,500 or so a month cash flow. Does it make sense to sell it, buy something else? He didn't know what a 1031 is, so we talked about that. He was pretty amazed by the fact that you could do that. Lots of questions on that. So is he going to do it? Maybe someday, but it doesn't make sense if he were to sell that house right now and lose that cash flow, that would be kind of ridiculous. So just hold on to that. But it was cool talking to him after this many years. And I remember vividly, I'm like, dude, you got to buy a house, man. What are you doing? You're waiting for the desert rose. You're waiting for the perfect house. There ain't no perfect house. Doesn't matter if you're buying an income property or a house you're going to live in. There is no such thing. You have to pull the trigger. Joe is proof. How many years later, almost 15 years later, he's got this thing paying him that much a month? Are you kidding me? So yeah, and he's bought several other properties. He's buying land in Georgia, and he's buying other properties. So yeah, he kind of got into real estate, but it took that first step back in 2011. He was scared, but he made the move, and now look at him, pulling down $2,500 a month on a rental, and his mortgage is $900 a month.